I get it. Okay.
Beep, beep. Sorry, Roadrunner.
What do we want this hypothetical menu to look like?
That's really super easy. We want to look like a rectangle with slightly beveled edges. Holly, is it recording? Red?
It is indeed.
Fantastic, yeah. So, in summary, this has been an incredible session because you have insisted on a direction that has turned out to be very useful.
I've insisted with all of my bones and my body.
Which, all due respect, isn't that much, very light. Instead of having an environment, we have decided it's probably useful for quite a while to not have an environment, just have the text and space. A neutral grey background that we can experiment with exactly the right tone is fine. The text is black. Now, what Andrew's going to do is first of all make the introduction dot not green. It's going to be a little bit more like this, but more desaturated. It will have text in the future, but not yet.
Different?
Oh, perfect. Actually, that's too much towards red. A little cooler, please.
Too much red. Oh.
Since you asked.
Yeah.
So that the interaction we should have very soon, hopefully by Wednesday, is our team goes to the page. There is a slightly bluish silver thing, and it has the text on it. You tap on it, you're now in VR. That ball goes to your hand, non-functional.
Just like we wanted, just like we said last week, which I love.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
And then we have the panel to work on to press. It's beveled, metallic-y kind of thing.
And what we don't have yet are the icons, which we'll do later.
No, but that's Allen research.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's going to take a huge amount of time. But what we will need probably after that, Andrew, is for this to be a toggle, for this to appear.
Right.
That's okay, right?
That's pretty logical.
Yeah. But it won't do anything for
Right.
quite a while.
Right.
And then we will have to work on why we want things to change, how we want things to change. But at least we will then have an environment. And that environment will be currently just words. But at some point there should be documents, obviously. And at some point there should be mixed documents and words. So you can have your thoughts, your documents, author names, notes, quotes, whatever the heck you want. And with this thing you toggle what is visible.
I agree.
Yeah, good. So that means that once we summon the document from this space to go back to the research and work that Andrew and Adam has already done, we can then determine what happens to this other stuff, if it fades, goes smaller, whatever. So when we're done with that, I think we're completely done with the project and we're on to stretch goals.
Well, we're on to for phase 1 project. Phase 2 is writing.
Yeah, but what I mean is once this is done, we've done everything we set out to do, and we need to write it up, including the, like the video we're making now. We need to make sure that's recorded properly. What I mean is then we're really in the realm of secondary kind of user testing, because then the interaction should be okay, and the user will have to sit down and say, yeah, but this is not how we work, and then we work on that, right? Kind of thing.
Well, it's my understanding that year 1 is learning how to work with the documents and figuring out how people want to read and interact with them. Year 2 is being able to do something with those documents, annotate, draw links. So we're not through with the project, we're through with the
Oh,
phase.
no. When you said phase, you mean year 1. Yes.
Yeah, year 1 phase.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
And with all due respect, Andrew, I expect this part to be done by Easter. No, because a lot of this is mechanical, right? No, a lot of it is mechanical, and then we'll have a ton
Yeah.
of time to test the actual this and the actual that. Because right now, how you move things towards you doesn't work for me. It works for some of you, and that's the kind of thing we all need to
Yeah.
polish, right?
Yeah, and I think also being able to give some flexibility of settings, because what I want and what I need may not be what another scholar needs. So once Alan starts to do the work with gathering that information, we can start to figure out how to provide some, not customization, but options.
Yeah, I, in principle, I agree. It's just that doing that for author, not reader, author, usually throws up a very surprising can of worms. Like even if you just change color from warm to cold, it didn't change there. or you have to reload this, or that, just little things. Of course, I have nothing against it. It's just I feel that if we can, for our own branding as well, provide a powerful, useful experience, then I almost feel like saying, look, when we get to the point where we can actually sell it, whether we sell it financially or not, depending on what the grant wants us to do, maybe they want it to be self-funded, I don't know, sell it quote unquote.
It's supposed to be open source.
Yeah, but I mean, sell it in whatever means, as in give it to the public.
Disseminate.
Then we might say, hey, you have some more grant money, we will look at options, because it is huge. Because then we also get into usability for different, people with different color visions, different abilities. Very useful work, but it is absolutely massive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that if we're going out to, knowing my colleagues at the various schools I've ever taught, they're going to want to have their own space, right?
Yeah.
And what works for me doesn't necessarily work for someone else. So we have to have some level stretch goal of people being able to have some options to
Let's
develop
say-
the space, the workspace they want.
Let's say it this way then. Year 1 is reading and relatively passive. Of course, active reading, but relative. Year 2, authoring, should also mean authoring your environment.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because one thing that is clear to me, and it may turn out to be rubbish, my absolute fantasy of having a keyboard and typing on a hugely long scroll in this very same space, it may mean that suddenly now I want the background to be darker. Because I don't want to be looking at this and there's all this glare coming, right?
Well, that could definitely be what somebody wants.
And exactly, and this is where that customization has to be done.
Yeah. I was just thinking about when I was working in Moose, right? You walk into a space and it was not designed. And, I had like 200 people I was hanging out with, and everybody had their own ability to create. The space was void. And they could start to, they dig a room, void space, add a desk, produce it, make a cup, and we all had such different rooms and different names. And I can see that same phenomenon. And that's what kept us interested, right? People being there and being able to make that space.
Nesting, as you might call it as well, was core. Andrew, I have questions for you. Can I ask now, or are you typing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Questions are, once we're finished with today, we've decided on the basics for the next few months, the environment.
Okay, which I was not listening to, but I'll have to rewatch the video.
It's basically what we're doing.
Okay.
Right. The question for me then is to keep, just practically, let's say that Fabian wants to put something in this space. This code that you have now will go up to a repo or something, right?
Yeah, presumably.
So we now need, because also Adam and you will be doing different gesture tests and all of this stuff. So this probably should serve as our template, so that unless someone has a reason to do off-brand, they will use this as the base space, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. This base is probably going to change quite a bit because the code is rough. It's written just to test stuff, so it's not optimized based off of what it needs.
You know rule number 1 in programming, right? Don't optimize too early. And rule number 2 is?
Don't optimize ever.
Exactly. I'm only joking. You're the programmer, but what we need to do then, from this at least, because I think we've done an amazing job today. I need you to write down all the hexes and everything, the background colors and all of that stuff. So if somebody in our community wants to reproduce our environment, at least they know the general stuff. The reason for that is Fabian has a very different visual style, for instance. And if he does his colorful background polygons, it's nice as a test, but it isn't this.
Right.
Because if the environment is completely different, how do we know if it would work in this environment? So it should be easy for them to make it.
And one thing I want to try, if we're going for a flat background, is instead of a flat background, a very subtle gradient. Very subtle. But just enough to add a little bit of a polish, because it feels, the blank background is very easy to work in, but it also feels like we didn't try, which I know is not the case. But sometimes gradients are all you need to add a polish.
I'm very happy to do that, but in my experience doing gradients for other things earlier, that can also become hugely involved. So yes, let's do it, but keep a cap on it.
Yeah, there's no rush.
The gradients suggest bottoms and tops.
And long light.
And I was trying to avoid bottoms and
Yeah, if you guys
Well,
don't
if
like
it's
the
a
gradient, that's
No, but
fine.
that's why we'll
though.
test it and see if it works. I don't think it might, but I do agree that there is a difference, right? You're currently representing two very useful points. You're representing what actually is useful. And Andrew is saying we may need to make it look more polished and sell it in a different way, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, one thing that could be really cool, actually, you go into this and it starts out as a very heavily gradient, so it's really got a space, but after literally a minute it fades into nothing. So the entry splash is very different from the use splash.
That could be interesting. Some of the things we got done today, we got our style guidelines started. Again, working a little bit on what kind of naming conventions we're going to need.
Look, she's so serious.
I made a list. Who's serious?
Polly, look at her working.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Deanie, and I was like, she doesn't sound too serious to me.
No, it was just because, look, she's got that reflection just splat.
We worked on some gesture inventory, pulling
Yep.
that together, scope, and design principles. We haven't done branding yet, but that's coming.
Yeah, okay.
We also have research attributions. This is very important. This is going to make the university happy. Also,
Okay, so let's talk about branding for a minute. Holly, are we still recording? Please check.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. In terms of visual branding, right now our visual branding is as simple as you guided us towards, Deanie. So that's simple and good, right? Visual branding is
infinite lists,
it's black text on a grey background.
infinite space, representation of infinite space. Through
The sphere is still too.
a gray background
Yeah, that's
with no
So you want it like
further
that way,
Yeah.
like more green.
no
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
concept of room. Okay. One.
I know a lot of people in our community likes purple, but I just don't want to.
What was the thing for making this big? It's not. It's command.
Yeah, that's an
Escape.
easy change.
The reason.
No, I mean that. I mean this word.
Oh, to make it a heading,
Yeah.
command and then whatever level heading you want it to be. So if you want it to be top level heading, command 1.
Okay.
Right. Right. Okay. And then we also have the ball. Should we give the ball a name? Should we call it Billy? That would be too stupid, wouldn't it?
I don't know if we want to name the one.
Balloon. We'll call it Winston.
Oh gosh.
Andrew, this is just a question. The
Looks
color
really
of
like
the
an
sphere is
angel
now
bird.
perfect.
Yeah.
However, can you make it more of a specular highlight to make it
All
look more
is-
metallic, or is that not within the scope of what that can
We
do?
can do whatever we want here. This is literally just a gradient. So
It's a ball
with a
guide.
gradient, I can't.
Can
But
you-
I can add stuff on top.
Can you
I can
make
make
it
it
a
an image.
circular gradient, or not?
A
Entry
radial one?
element.
Yeah, you can.
That should be
Is
enough.
a ball
Okay.
that
But-
provides directions.
The thing is, once we actually get it as a model, it's going to change its
Yeah,
appearance
yeah.
quite a lot. So
Yeah, let's not fiddle now. You're right.
it's like probably not needed at the moment.
Simple directions. Okay. Ball, once clicked, the ball